All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. We're trying to start on time today. I got to get the lights fixed in here, I think. I think there might be some lights above me that I can use. But we're here. Good morning. Let me know how the mic sound. The mic sound should be pretty solid. Let me get some music playing here. Hold on. Market has kind of rebounded pretty big. It looks like it's mostly driven by Nvidia this morning. We got some other breaking news. Today we have PPI inflation data, which is big. Hold on one second. Let me get the music going. And let me grab my coffee as well. And yeah, we'll get started. But yeah, NASDAQ at almost 25,000. It's kind of been pushing up pretty close to 25K, making some movements here. Let me know if everything's smooth. There we go. But yeah, look at the NASDAQ. Look at Nvidia. NASDAQ's slightly red on the day. Most things are slightly red, to be honest. Today we have PPI inflation data. Bitcoin back up to like 87,000. We had a bunch of retail numbers this morning. I think we had like Best Buy, a couple other stuff. Alphabet had a huge rally over the last few days. But yeah, S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, all down slightly even with this latest run back up. They're bouncing from earlier lows. Quick rebound in the NASDAQ over the last 10 minutes. There's news that Meta's going to use Google AI chips, offsetting weakness in some chip names like Nvidia, AMD. If you look at Nvidia, Nvidia's up to like 176.50s. Nvidia is still under 180, so it's still been breaking down. I think in response to Michael Burry, Nvidia also sent... Michael Burry posted something late last night. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, so Michael Burry ended up posting this last night. Nvidia emailed a memo to Wall Street sell-side analysts to push back on my arguments. And this is quoting Michael Burry here. Again, it says, quote, Nvidia emailed a memo to Wall Street sell-side analysts to push back on my arguments. I stand by my analysis. Obviously, the full analysis does not fit in a tweet I will release on my timeline. The first post in the Heretic's Guide to AI Stars Supply-Side Gluttony is up now. It's a fairly light read. The second in the Heretic series will be a heavier lift. Every post of mine on Substack will have a follow-up Q&A with 5 questions selected from the comments section on the post. And you know, I gotta look at this. Subscribe to it. Oh, it's paid. I don't want to pay for this. Oh. I'm gonna do none. See if I can still access it. Alright, here it is. So Michael Burry put out this post. Here, let me drink my coffee before we read this. Before we take a look at Michael Burry's post, though. Look at the NASDAQ pull down. I'm watching 24,900s. Let's take a look at yields, rate cut odds, and then we'll look at PPI inflation expectations as well. Make sure we're up running. We should be good. What's up, Condos? Sam, Tony, Koi, Yair, Ty, Mamba, Kim. Yeah, we're here. We're starting on time today. Yesterday I was late. I'm sorry. We're starting on time today. But yeah, PPI inflation data, big data. But yeah, like taking a look at 10 years real quick here. Yeah. Yields are down still, so I'm assuming we have lower interest rate sentiment today. You take a look at yields, 4.029% this morning, down again. If you look at yields just in the last few days, they've been falling. Look at this drop. over the last few days for yields. So yields have been dipping here. If we take a look at the Fed watch tool, all right, we take a look at the Fed watch tool here. Odds are currently 80+% that we're going to cut rates next month in December. 80+% odds that we're going to cut rates. So still very probable at this point in time that we're going to cut rates. And again, the Nasdaq's still slightly red, even though it did rebound back up. But I'm going to go through cliff notes of this Burry post, which is called the Cardinal sign of a bubble, supply side gluttony. Now, he posted this a few days ago. But I'm going to summarize it. It says that this piece argues that one of the clearest signs of a financial bubble is when there is an excess surge in supply, too many companies, too many similar projects, too much capital chasing the same hot theme rather than genuine, sustainable demand. It frames this as a recurring pattern in past manias and suggests that today's AI boom shows, quote, similar supply side gluttony, implying investors should treat the current enthusiasm with caution. Let me know if you agree with that about AI here. We did have some earnings from, I believe, Best Buy this morning. Let me see if I can find it. I saw it earlier. I'm pretty sure we had Best Buy. We had like analog devices, maybe. Yeah, Best Buy posted 140 adjusted EPS versus 131 expected. Revenue of 9.67 versus 9.59 expected for Best Buy. Again, here's Nvidia. So we're watching Nvidia. Best Buy up a little bit from their earnings. We also had analog devices, 226 EPS versus 222 expected. Revenue of 3.08 billion versus 3 billion expected for ADI here. 248. So both of these are up. Google 330s, man. Look at the move on Google. Google's just made a huge move over the last few days. You know, Warren Buffett, Burke took a big position in them. Am I still dark in the background? Am I still dark in the background? I shouldn't be. I guess I am. Let's take a look at Bitcoin right now, guys. Let me put Bitcoin on screen. I'm going to put Bitcoin up. See if I can get some of this other stuff out the way. I just want to put Bitcoin up. Bitcoin at 87,670s, so it's still got a ways it's got to go, but can y'all see this? It should be pretty good, huh? Can't really. I might have to scoot this up a little bit. I want to keep Bitcoin on the screen. Bitcoin futures probably will do. There's not much of a difference, but there's Bitcoin right there. 87,630s. The man in the shadows. Oh, 87K, my bad. I mean, I can turn the lights on, guys. All right, hold on. I need to get some coffee anyway. All right, is that better? Here, hold up. Oh. All right. We're here. I'm drinking my coffee. I should have bought this dip. All right. Again, PPI inflation data going live. Again, PPI inflation data today is expected at 0.3% month over month, 0.3%. Last time PPI showed up at negative 0.1%. Today is expected month over month at 0.3%. We also have retail sales data today. And we also have the ADP prelim employment data, man. We got so much stuff coming out today. I forgot. We got retail sales, PPI inflation, ADP employment, and more going live today. So stick around. The ADP data is in like 45 minutes, so it's important. It's relevant. You want to watch for it. We also have retail sales and PPI. Retail sales expected at 0.4%. PPI expected at 0.3%. Last time the ADP employment change data showed up at negative 2.5 thousand, negative 2.5K. And so we're going to cover all this stuff when it comes out. Will this data help or hurt the market? Let me know. This is all Eastern Standard Time. Are you bullish or bearish on today's big data releases? Is what the poll is going to be, bull or bear? Let me know in chat right now. NASDAQ's pushing back up. I think the NASDAQ might actually want 25,000. We're getting pretty close to it. Bro, is it really going to hit me with ads on this? We're going to have to leave this and just put Bitcoin up like this. Just Bitcoin at the bottom right there. I mean, the data matters. It'll move markets. Is this worse? Yeah, I mean, look, I just woke up. So, y'all got half asleep, John. It should be fine, though. I mean, look, it's not even that big. So let me know if this works. I can turn the lights off behind me if you want. NASDAQ up to 24,932. Let's watch 950s up here. And again, look at gold this morning as well. Google still up pretty big. Gold's had a crazy bounce back too. Almost back up to the previous highs. Gold at 41.67 right now. Yeah, 0.3%. Lights off behind me. All right. Sorry, I'm bumping my mic. Get it. All right. Let me know if that's better, guys. If that's sufficient. Yeah, Broadcom. Huge movements for Broadcom. Look at AVGO at 394s. Yeah, Broadcom is just up on good AI sentiment, I think. Let me check. But Volkswagen says it'll be able to slash the cost of developing an EV vehicle in China by as much as 50%. We got UK Prime Minister Starmer speaking. Google Alphabet nears a $4 trillion valuation as AI momentum builds. Google shares are up almost 4%, or no, more than 4%, putting them on track to reach $4 trillion today if they continue. Milestone follows a year-long rally fueled by expanding AI and Gemini models. So Google, the big star of the market the last few days. Broadcom shares are up like 4.6% as well. Nvidia is set to lose $180 billion. Meta's considering Google chips. Meta's evaluating Google AI chips, which is TPUs for its data center starting in 2027, and may rent them through Google Cloud next year, according to the information. Google down 4.1% in pre-market on this. It's on track to lose about $180 billion in market value. Google's up almost 4%, nearing $4 trillion. The deal with Meta would be a major boost for Google's AI chip strategy and a rare shift away from Nvidia. Broadcom shares also rose, benefiting from broader AI infrastructure momentum. And then we also have Deutsche Bank. They still see a December cut. Deutsche expects the Fed to cut rates by 25 basis points in December and then pause until Q3 2026. It also anticipates another 25 basis point cut next September until under new Fed leadership. Some warning inflation hasn't cooled enough to justify rate cuts, but let me know what you guys think. AVGO benefiting from Meta deal. No, PPI inflation data goes live at 8:30. It's now 7:30 market time. So this is how the data release schedule is going to go today, guys. So this is how the data release schedule is going to go. We're going to get the ADP weekly employment numbers at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. Now, ADP is a little bit, I'm not going to say they're not reliable, but they're not reliable in terms of time. Every time I've seen them come out, they've been a little bit late on the report for ADP numbers, but that's going to release at 8:15 Eastern Time. So at 8:15 Eastern Time, which is in like 45 minutes, 40 minutes really, we're going to get the ADP weekly numbers. Then following that, we are going to get at 8:30 retail sales data, PPI inflation data, and more at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So that is the schedule for now. Again, retail sales expected at 0.4%. PPI inflation data expected at 0.3%. Core retail sales expected at 0.3% as well. Core PPI year over year expected at 2.7%. Core PPI month over month expected at 0.2% is what we're seeing here. That's what is expected right now. And then at 10 a.m. we have CB consumer confidence data. They've kind of just been pushing the capacity utilization and industrial production numbers back. So I'm not sure if those are actually coming out today. I'll have to check that later. But yeah, that is the release schedule as of now. It's 7:35 market time. I'll put a timer up if it lets me. Let me try to put a timer up. I got you guys. Hold on. What do we got until this starts? I'll put it to the ADP data. The ADP data is in 40 minutes almost exactly, so we'll do 39 minutes. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, so here's the timer for all the data coming out today. There's the timer. No, the president's not the one releasing. The president's not the one releasing PPI. PPI numbers are just coming out. The Bureau of Labor Statistics canceled CPI. PPI is business inflation. It's wholesale inflation. So it's a little bit different in terms of the way they collect it versus consumer data, which is, you know, it all varies. Broadcom pulling back some here. So I see Broadcom dipping down here. I'm still watching for market updates. We got Michael Saylor tweeting saying turn and burn. Again, UK Prime Minister Starmer's spokesperson, when asked if the UK is still willing to put boots on the ground in Ukraine after cessation of hostilities, he said that commitment remains. And again, Bitcoin is back up a little bit relative to where it was. You know, it was at like 80,000. I think it actually broke a little bit underneath that a few days ago. So it's back up to 87,000. It's starting to rebound a little bit. Let's see if it holds. It got all the way up to close to 89s here. And with that said, I kind of want to buy this dip right now. The only thing I'm worried about is how this affects the market, but I kind of want to buy this dip. Oh, it logged me out. Hold on. Let me get this back up and running here. There we go. Nasdaq's fallen down. Should I buy this dip, guys? I don't know. We kind of broke underneath this level, and we got a lot of stuff coming out today, so I might just wait for this dip. The lights are a lot smoother here. Are you gaining weight? Not really, man. I probably lost a little bit of weight since I got injured, to be honest. Realistically, I was like 185 pounds or so before I got hurt. And now I'm at like 180 pounds. I've actually lost a little bit of weight. I don't know why. Maybe muscle, to be honest, since I'm not training. Could be the light, yeah. I don't know what it is. I've been eating while I've been here, though. Yeah, I see gold. Gold's elevated today. So I do see gold. Oh, man, maybe I should have bought that dip here. 24,889. Quarter 3 GDP October jobs report, October inflation report is the only thing not being reported. Claims it's impaired from the shutdown. Yeah, so they canceled quarter 3 GDP. They canceled October jobs. We already got October inflation. No, we got September CPI. That's right. So yeah, October CPI is also getting canceled, unfortunately. This thing moving, rates going down equals gold going up. Yeah, you should. I think we go to all-time highs. I got time. Torn MCL. I tore my MCL. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't want them to cancel the data. I would have preferred them to keep the data, you know, like I'd rather them have data than no data. But I also understand it, I guess. If the government was shut down the entire month of October, which is kind of like a rarity, you know, I guess I understand. See, I kind of want to buy this dip here, guys. Let's see. I'm gonna buy just a little bit. We'll see what happens here. Retest. It's small. We're gonna keep it small. I was hoping we'd hold there at the 200 exponential, but I'll give it a second. But if not, we'll cut this quick. Look at AVGO. break it down here. A lot of the move ups have been from like Google. Yeah, I doubt it's because the data looks bad. I think the canceled data is just because the government was shut down the whole month. They were trying to collect it. So, what's up, Kelly? Trust the government. I don't trust any government, you know. I never have. I find it strange when people are like, yeah, you know, let's trust the government. You know what I mean? On either side, you know. Like just because a side has power doesn't mean I trust the government. I don't care who it is. Is my mic volume not loud enough? How's the mic volume? It should be okay, but I mean, I can try to fix it. Let me know if my mic volume isn't loud enough. I can always turn it up. Look at this. All right, we're going to start unloading some of this position here up here. I don't know what just happened. Let me see. Look at that movement. Let me check the breaking news. Alibaba says Quinn will gradually integrate e-commerce, map navigation, local services, and more in a conference call. Yeah, it's not really Nvidia. I mean, that's a pop, but it's nothing huge. Look at that move up. I guess it is Nvidia making this move, but I don't see any other breaking news here, to be honest. I mean, I'll take it. We got a nice green channel. Okay, so I see that Ukraine agrees to terms of the peace deal, according to a U.S. official to ABC News. Yeah, and one of the catalysts that's sparking this is look at oil fall down here. So oil dipping right now. Again, this says Ukraine agrees to peace deal, terms of peace deal. U.S. official to ABC News apparently. Assuming that's what's doing this. Yeah, Ukraine reportedly agrees to terms of peace deal according to ABC News. Look at the market pump. Oil's down. Well, you love to see it. I mean, sometimes it's better to be lucky than skillful. And I think that trade was pure luck. Got in with some good breaking news here. Yeah, the first thing I looked at to see if it was that deal was oil, and oil breaking down confirms it. So yeah, look at oil. Nvidia. Is this Meta? Yeah, Meta's up, but Meta's not what's driving this, I think. But it could, I mean, maybe some of it. Apple. A lot of tech stocks are rising. Apple's up, Meta's up. Broadcom is up big. AMD's bouncing back. Again, Google's been the big story of the last few days. Crazy percentage increases here. Yeah, I mean, I got in for technicals. News came out afterwards. Again, I'll take it. Green is good. You know. Again, I got lucky. I'd love to say it was skill, but I got lucky. Good news is good news. Again, so oil futures down after Ukraine peace deal report. So again, a U.S. official says Ukrainian delegation has agreed with U.S. on terms of potential peace deal. Is what this is. Again, UK agrees to terms of peace deal, U.S. official says on ABC News. That's what's boosting markets for sure right now. Let's see if we're continuing higher. But again, UK officials have reportedly agreed to terms of the peace deal. Oil's dumping. NASDAQ's up. I'm not buying the dip in oil right now. The only way oil is going to bounce heavy, I think, right now, short term, is if we get some like backtracking on this. You know, like you got to understand, oil generally benefits from instability, at least the price of oil in foreign markets, right? So instability. That's why as soon as I read about the peace deal and I wanted to see if that's what was moving markets, I checked oil and I saw oil dropping, and oil dropping kind of confirmed that that's what's moving markets if it's in the same time frame. Because oil benefits from instability, supply and demand, basically. So like the more sketchy it's looking, the more oil benefits, because you got to raise the price of oil. You know, oil becomes more expensive, supply and demand, and so. It's easy on micro oil. All right, now we're kind of dipping down though, so we're not really holding up from this release, but we're dipping down a little bit now. We'll see. Again, so a U.S. official told ABC News that Ukraine has agreed to the terms of a potential peace deal. U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll met secretly with Russian officials in Abu Dhabi on Monday following weekend talks with Ukraine in Geneva. The official said only minor details remain. The U.S. Army spokesperson said that talks with Russia are progressing and coordinating with White House. Neither Ukraine nor Russia has confirmed their delegation's presence in Abu Dhabi. The 19-point Ukraine plan no longer contains amnesty point, according to ABC News. All right, guys, well, that's the big news right now. We'll see what happens in markets here. Again, we only have 26 minutes before the ADP labor report shows up. Yeah, it's definitely not a done deal yet. They've agreed to terms, but that doesn't mean much at this point in time. Market might be overreacting, to be honest. Nasdaq's kind of retraced all the way back down here. Let's watch 900s. Right now, we're right around 900s. See if Bitcoin's reacting to this at all. Well, it's not fake news. I just don't know if it's I don't know if it justifies this big reaction yet. Is what I'll say. Again, we got PPI inflation data. We got ADP labor data showing up in about 25 minutes, guys. 25 minutes. Again, labor data is expected today. Last time it showed up at negative 2,500 for the weekly report. The previous time before that, it showed up at negative 11.25 thousand. So this is all relevant today. Again, I'm watching the NASDAQ right here at 24.9. If we can't hold over 24.9 and then the 200 exponential at around 890, we'll see if we break down to like 850s here. You could also see Nvidia, which is down today on the Meta news. Down at 175. Oh yeah, I'm in Meta right now. My Meta trade finally did me right. It took so long. It finally did me right. Took me a long time, but we finally did right with Meta. Good. Took long enough. Again, PPI expected at 0.3%. Retail sales dropping simultaneously with PPI. Core retail sales expected at 0.3%. Regular retail sales expected at 0.4%. A lot of stuff dropping at 8:30 today, guys. A lot of stuff. We also have a lot of stuff coming out after this as well. We got jobs numbers. We got CB consumer confidence data at 10. We have retail sales at 8:30, PPI at 8:30. Again, job numbers at 8:15. You can see the timer to my right. Yeah, here's gold. Gold down a little bit on this news too. More stability, less fear is essentially what gold's doing. Oil prices are trading lower. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Mama Pawn? I hope they accept the deal. I mean, I hope for peace, of course. Gold's starting to push back up, though. Looking at our poll numbers, we did a poll this morning. Here, remember, guys, we did a poll this morning. 68% are bullish, 32% are bearish. Again, 68% are bullish, 32% are bearish this morning. Nvidia dip is so dumb. Or is anybody buying the Nvidia dip? Let me know in chat right now. If this was a true recovery, wouldn't we be back in the 25s? For what? For what asset? Too early? Me? Not yet. Yeah, there's PPI inflation data today. I mean, I love the question. Is there PPI inflation data today? I'm not going to say it's in the title of the stream that says massive PPI inflation data release 8:30. I'm not saying it is. But, you know, it could potentially be there in the title of this stream. Palantir. Yeah. Palantir down to 160 here. Do you guys think Michael Burry is correct? Again, we read Michael Burry's post earlier. Essentially where, you know, Nvidia and Michael Burry are kind of going back and forth at this point in time. Do you guys agree with Burry? Burry essentially said in his article that he wrote that I, you know, am not going to pay for. But what Burry essentially said is that in historical bubbles, one of the things we've seen is we've seen a lot of companies chasing the same thing, too much competition, too high evaluations, too much money flowing in there where all the companies are essentially too similar and they're all vying for the same, you know, things, and there's just too much hyper focus on one thing and too much money flowing in and overvaluations essentially is what he said. He said he's going to put out some more stuff. I don't know when he's going to do that, but that's basically what Michael Burry said in his article. Do you guys agree with that? Nvidia emailed a memo to Wall Street sell-side analysts to push back on my arguments. I stand by my analysis. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. He is wrong. He's got a point. Yes. No. You can see how split the market is. Like, some people genuinely agree. Some people disagree. Mag 7 has revenue. That would be interesting. He's a little early, but right in the long term. Agree with the short seller. I want to say I agree with him. I mean, I think he might be right, but, you know, he also could be catastrophically wrong. So, I mean, we'll see. And is Nvidia a solid long-term investment? I mean, personally, I think so. Not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money, but personally, I think Nvidia is going to be fine long-term. Short-term, who knows what's going to happen. But I think when you zoom out, you know, very famous saying in markets, when in doubt, zoom out. And I think long-term Nvidia is probably going to be fine. You never know, but I think it's going to be hard to. I think it's going to be hard to make Nvidia not succeed as a company. You know, they'd have to do a lot of things wrong, and I don't think they're necessarily doing those things wrong. Everybody hopping on the Michael Burry train with the same people saying Nvidia to 200 after earnings. Nvidia got pretty close to 200, you know, from earnings. NASDAQ holding at that 24.9 level. Gold still pushing up. Let's take a look at Nvidia with all these overvaluation fears. Nvidia down to 175 is not good. But again, to a certain point, guys, I don't think it's necessarily super unhealthy to correct a little bit and stabilize, right? As long as you don't crash down big numbers, I don't think it's necessarily unhealthy to stabilize markets. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's necessarily unhealthy to correct a little bit for some of these tech names and then just hold. You know, I think that's pretty normal. I would rather us correct small than crash big. And I think Nvidia's down what, like 15, 16%. I think if it holds where it's at, you know. I thought it was when in doubt, YOLO into options. Yeah, I mean, that's not my motto personally, but it's definitely some people's motto, you know. I know there's another motto in markets that goes something like when in doubt, doubled and triple size to make up for it. You know what I mean? I think that's definitely some people's motto. 5% corrections twice a year would be healthy. It's Nvidia, not Nvidia. When in doubt, martingale. Yeah, that's not my motto. Again, don't copy me. Not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Meta's pumping good, man. I'm in Meta. Let it rise. I bought Meta. I bought the Meta dip. It finally worked out for me. Took a little while though. I can't say I wasn't nervous. I can't say I wasn't nervous. You know, I was down in Meta for like a week or two. It got to the point where I didn't even want to look at it. I was like, I don't even want to look at Meta. Like, I'd have to cover it on the show and I'd see Meta dropping and I'd be like, Meta's dropping, you know. Just unhappy about it. Now it's up to 620s. Loving life. Took me a while though. I had to sit in it. Again, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. You know. Nvidia's accumulating down here for a big run up soon. The demand is bigger right now than they can provide, but yet China chips might be their strongest competitor soon. Yeah, for sure. I feel like sinking into Nike front running. There's good and bad things about Nike. You know, I think Nike has a big industry built on its back. You know, and I don't think shoes are going to pivot away from Nike. I just don't think they're going to. I think it's very clear shoes are going to stick with Nike. And so that creates an incentive to keep Nike healthy as a company, right? And I think that's good for the stock long term. Who knows what happens short term? And you're going to have waves. So yeah, I don't dislike Nike necessarily. But it's not without risk. It's not without risk. I don't know. My average price in Meta, I think it's around $600. Meta's at 620 right now, so percentage-wise, we're up decent. But are we seeing the current pump as a fake out? What current pump? Current pump in what? The current pump on the Ukraine peace deal news? Okay, so I'm seeing some news that came out that says U.S. and Ukraine are finalizing a peace deal, but Russia is likely to reject the changes, according to WAPO. Look at gold. Gold's elevated. Nvidia's still down on the day. Again, Google has been ripping up the last week or two. Essentially since Berkshire Hathaway announced their huge investment into them. Again, oil futures are down. Gold is higher. Again, Ukraine agreed to terms of peace deal. Deutsche still expects we're going to cut rates 25 basis points. Alibaba also put out some stuff that said they expect growth potential for AI is still continuing to accelerate, cannot keep pace with growth of customer demand for AI infrastructure. But look at gold up here. All right, guys, 15 minutes until the ADP non-farm employment data. 15 minutes. So we do have ADP non-farm employment data. 15 minutes is when it's coming out. Redfin said delistings jumped to 28% as sellers pull homes off the market rather than settling for low prices. Again, Redfin says delistings in real estate have jumped 28% as sellers are pulling home off market rather than settling for low prices. Okay, we got PPI inflation data today, guys. ADP data dropping in about 20 or in about 14 minutes. Looking at our poll, 66% are bullish. Hey, I already said that, A-Row. Please stop spamming things. You're going to get put in timeout pretty quickly here, bro. Start with 1 minute timeout for you, sir. I already answered it. Yeah, we need the sweet spot with this data here. Again, ADP data last time showed up at negative 2,500. PPI last time showed up at negative 0.1%. So honestly, we got good data last time for inflation data. Negative 0.1% PPI. Retail sales showed up at 0.7% last time for core retail sales. Core PPI showed up at negative 0.1% last time. And so PPI was pretty good. We'll see if it can compete with that. Retail sales expected at 0.4%. Last time it showed up at 0.6%. So again, PPI inflation expected at 0.4%. I'll put this up in a scroller on the bottom of the screen. I'll try to get everything here. And again, let me know if I'm loud enough. Is my voice loud enough on this stream? I'm on my travel setup. Can you put me in timeout for fun? Oh, pawn's on it. I was about to do it. Buffett's money will be coming in. Yeah. Good? Alright, cool. I can hear you perfectly. Alright, cool. Voice sounds smooth as silk. Well, I mean, that's always true, you know. But I'm just making sure you guys can hear the silky, smooth voice of John in the morning. Volume's good. Alright. Yeah, gold pushing up, NASDAQ rebounding back up. Let's watch 950s. During the Ukraine peace deal news, we popped all the way up to 975. We're up to like 930s right now. Johnny Smooth, that's right. You know. Those who know, know. You know. You think Nvidia will stay where it is until December rates? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll get a Santa rally this year. Nvidia will boost higher. I'm not sure. John the Kind. That's right. I would say I'm the kindest, you know. Definitely top 3 voices ever. Yeah, I would say if it's like Freddie Freeman and John, you got to pick John. And in terms of who's the nicest. Yeah, definitely the most humble guy ever. All right, so the NASDAQ's pulling back here. Hey, appreciate you guys watching. You know. All right, guys. Remember, ADP non-farm employment data, weekly data, drops in about 10 minutes, and then after that, we get PPI inflation dropping at 8:30. We also have retail sales releasing at the same period. PCE data, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I don't know if they canceled PCE. PCE is done by the Bureau of Economic Analysis, BEA, government entity. I know they canceled the JOLTS reports. They canceled GDP. They canceled, I think it was Q2 second estimate GDP data. And they might have canceled PCE inflation. Actually, no, I think PCE inflation is rescheduled. I think it's December 6th. It's either December 4th or 6th. It might be the 5th, actually. It's one of those 3 days. Do we want retail sales to be higher for better rate cut chance or lower? If you want a better rate cut chance, in theory, you want lower retail sales. It shows a weaker labor and economy markets. So weaker economy means more justification in rate cuts. You know, the correlations start to get a little iffy with stuff, but but lower numbers would be more beneficial for lower numbers everywhere. So if you want rate cuts, you probably want lower PPI. You probably want lower retail sales. And realistically, you probably want lower labor. I don't think anybody necessarily wants lower job numbers that are releasing in about 9 minutes. I don't think anybody necessarily wants that. But lower would signal more of a need to cut rates. And so it depends on whether you want to cut rates or not. And at this point, it's 80-20. Hey, good luck, Sam. I mean, I'm mostly a live streamer, Matt. We got some old videos. Maybe I'll do them. I know people like my old videos. I just hate editing with a passion. Like, I don't like editing. I'm waiting for AI to do it for me. Then I'll start uploading a lot. If you guys know any good AI editors, you know, let me know. Yeah, I saw that about Meta and Google chips. Meta's up big. So I did see that. That's why Nvidia's down. That's why Nvidia dropped like this early this morning. Yeah, we had a couple big news releases this morning. We got Meta's going to be using Google AI chips, most likely. We have news about Ukraine peace deal potential. They agreed to the terms. Oil's down. Markets reacted well to this news initially and then kind of corrected back down. And we're sideways now leading into this data release. Nvidia is now down at 175 right now, guys. 175. Bitcoin still sitting at about 87,500. I don't know about these AI numbers or these market numbers. Again, let me get the ADP stuff ready here. Yeah, we're getting the ADP weekly jobs numbers reports very soon. I think it's called the NER Pulse. Get out of here. Alright guys, we got the ADP numbers pretty soon. NASDAQ still kind of slowly dipping down. Yeah, they should announce a new Fed chairman before the end of the year is what they essentially said, like a new Fed chairman before the end of the year. Google's been doing great. I mean, they had the Meta news with them today. They also had Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway investing billions into them and buying up a stake. Look at gold. Gold up to 41.73s right now. So yeah, Google's been doing great as a company. Look at gold elevated here, 41.73. Yeah, here's the BEA. So again, they said it's going to be rescheduled. I want to reset this. They're updating their schedule. Yeah. See, like you see the BEA. Okay, so yeah, December 5th is when the September PCE report's coming out. December 5th. Third quarter, third estimate is going to be rescheduled. It was originally December 19th. We're a little bit late on GDP data too, but yeah. So we'll see what that looks like. But Nvidia breaking down ahead of this report. Really, we got about 4 minutes here, chat, until the ADP data. About 4 minutes. So we got labor jobs numbers coming out pretty soon. And then we got PPI inflation, which is massive. So just be ready. Again, the ADP data. I'd be ready here. Again, you can kind of see the ADP data is scheduled for today. Today is 11/25. It is scheduled. We get the weekly prelim estimate. Now, historically, they've been late on this report, to be honest here. Like, every time they've dropped this report, they've been a little bit late. I'm not judging them. I'm the judgiest ever, for sure. But we'll see what their last report shows. Gotta stay on this. Again, Treasury Secretary Bessent is speaking right now. He said Fed governors seem to be leaning towards cutting rates. Bessent spoke. Moran says the Fed's balance sheet size is driven by regulatory choices. That means more bills and fewer mortgages, notes, and bonds. Interested in moving Fed balance sheet more to Treasury bills. More bills, fewer mortgages, notes, and bonds. But again, he said there's a very good chance that the president announces the new Fed chair before Christmas. All right, all this is good and fine, but the ADP jobs numbers show up in like 2 minutes here, so we got to be ready. Last time I get it was negative 2,500. Negative 2,500. 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. Alright, let's get ready. I'm on the site as well for it. So let's get ready. Here it is. Alright. The jobs numbers does move the market. But again, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. Again, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Really, we got about a minute left. And then we get PPI inflation. So we got about a minute left, and then we get PPI inflation. Nasdaq's starting to edge higher here. Again, I got to watch this site. Let me put this up here so that I can just keep it up. Again, last time was negative 2,500 for this report. Here we go. I'm going to get a couple different sources of this up here. All right, here we go, guys. Again, we got about 30 seconds. Maybe a little bit less. Sorry, I'm exiting out of some stuff. But there we go. All right. Again, ADP jobs. Let's see what we get. And here's the report. We got about 10 seconds, 15 seconds. This timer's a little bit early, guys. A little bit early. But you'll be able to see when this numbers come out, and we'll cover it as soon as it drops. But again, hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. We have about 5 seconds left. And yeah, let's see what this data shows. Again, last time should have been negative 250,000. And here's the report. Still waiting to see. Market hasn't moved yet. Last time they were late. Again, last time they were late. They've been late basically every time they've released this number. So it hasn't really been right at 8:15 or anything like that. It's been late every time. Yeah, and I'm still looking at their site. Nothing. And I don't see any market movement in here either. So, waiting. Scheduled to be released today. But again, they're not the most accurate in terms of when they release it. Unfortunately. And regardless of when they release this ADP report, we'll see what happens with PPI inflation data. So again, regardless of when they release the ADP report, we'll see what happens with PPI. I don't see any movement yet here, so. The big one's PPI data. But I don't see, like, the market hasn't moved. Still waiting. Everybody's just kind of waiting for this, I guess. Again, PPI data. Okay, so ADP change weekly showed up at negative 13.5 thousand. Negative 13.5K versus negative 2.5K previously. Negative 13.5 thousand for labor data. This is late, but man, I don't know if the market's just late to interpret this. Negative 13.5 thousand versus negative 2.5 thousand. Yikes. Negative 13.5K. I'll put this up on screen. Yikes. Surprised the market's not down on this report. Look at this. There's the data. So, man, that ain't good. That ain't good. But negative 13.5 thousand here. PPI inflation data is releasing in about 12 minutes. I'll put a timer up here and we'll go over this news. But negative 13.5 thousand. Again, I think this is going to show like more of a need to cut rates. No. This is going to show more of a need to cut rates. Market's actually going up a little bit now, but negative 13.5 thousand here. Guys, you can see it in the chat. Yikes. It's bad. Yeah, markets might like this. It means we're higher chance of rate cuts, right? Yeah, I agree. I think markets probably like this. Means more likelihood of rate cuts. Yeah, the big news is in 12 minutes. Yep. Look at the NASDAQ push up. Again, I'll put these numbers up on the bottom of the screen. But man, those are some bad numbers here. PPI and retail sales. 8:30. All right, so now you can see the scrolling at the bottom of the screen now. NASDAQ, again, reacted pretty well. Negative 13.5 thousand here. Negative 13.5 thousand. NASDAQ's pushing up. We will see if we get some continuations. And again, guys, the big news is dropping in about 11 minutes. We have PPI inflation and retail sales data. But remember, guys, the market prices in rate cuts ahead of the time. Yeah, I think these are bad numbers, though. NASDAQ's up, but I think these are bad numbers. We'll see what we get, though. Yeah, they called this a silver twist on the gig. They said the federal government's delayed September employment report released last week showed that the economy added 119,000 jobs, but for self-employed workers, that wasn't good. It says for the 4 weeks ending November 8th, private employees shed an average of 13,500 jobs a week. Consumer strength remains in question as we enter the holiday hiring season, which may be playing into delayed or curtailed job creation. These numbers are prelim and could change as data is added. But look, negative 13.5 thousand. Yeah, these are horrible numbers. But again, I think it's going to spike the odds. Like if we take a look at yields. If we take a look at 10-year treasuries, right? Yields are plummeting down. Look at yields. 4.01%. So they've dropped from this morning when we looked at them. They're like 4.03%. But look at the yields dump on this report. So yields are falling down on this. Understandably so, I think. Understandably so. Bitcoin's actually reacting well to this. Nvidia's bouncing at that same triple bottom, and gold again elevated. A lot of news this morning, but the big news is coming out in 10 minutes here, chat. 10 minutes, maybe less than that. Yeah, those are terrible numbers. Negative 13.5 thousand. Now, again, this is private payroll data. We're not getting a labor report, but this is private payroll data, so take it with a grain of salt, I guess is the point. But negative 13.5 thousand obviously isn't good for labor. And again, I think at a certain point, labor becomes the priority over inflation, you know, because again, I've said this once, I'll say it again. If we have to super ease because we're trending in a recession way, inflation gets much worse because we have to print money and do a bunch of stuff. And at this point, money printing, like quantitative easing, is not necessarily guaranteed. We're definitely ending quantitative tightening on the 1st. That news has already been announced, but it doesn't mean we're going to pivot to necessarily expanding the balance sheet. We might keep it the same size and just replace maturing, you know, assets with, you know, the same size. Just kind of swap them out and keep the balance sheet the same size. It's still likely that we're going to start easing pretty, you know, eventually, but we'll see. People losing jobs due to higher business costs. Expected PPI depends on which one, but what I'm showing here for expected PPI data, again, is core PPI month over month expected at 0.2. PPI month over month expected at 0.3. So 0.2 core, PPI 0.3 headline. Retail sales also expected. Retail sales is expected today at 0.4%. Core retail sales expected at 0.3%. So, all right, here we go, guys. It's time. 6.5 minutes. Let's see what we get. I mean, we're not in a recession yet. We don't have the GDP data. You know, recession's technically defined as 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. We don't have one yet. We had one in quarter 1. I think we lost 0.5% in quarter 1, but quarter 2 was positive. Quarter 3 is almost certainly positive. So we don't have one. We don't have the first half of a recession, you know. It's now classed as alpha compared to Fed data. Yeah, I mean, I think ADP data is pretty accurate. I think it has been. Look at the NASDAQ rip here, chat. Fed's Moran says there's a reason to be more optimistic about the economy next year. Again, negative 3.5 thousand ADP numbers. GDP is losing correlation with the economy on the street. Maybe. Somebody said we had that before, and they said, no, we're not in a recession. Yeah, but before, we had 2 consecutive losing GDP quarters. And so I think if you're one of those people that were pushing for the technical definition back then, you got to be consistent now, you know? Like if you were pushing for the technical definition back then, you got to go with the technical definition now. You can't say, oh, recession, and then when we don't have that technical definition, then also say recession, you know? All right, guys, we're rejecting at 9:50. We got about 6 minutes left, 5 minutes. Yeah, no, I saw that you can't agree to the U.S. peace deal. I don't know if the deal is going to hold. Russia might reject it, but it's optimistic. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, we got about 2,000 people here. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. We got 5+ minutes left. Let's see what we get. Give me your last bit of predictions. Are you bullish or bearish on PPI and retail sales data? Again, bullish or bearish on PPI and retail sales. You are all wrong being bullish. This is not that good. Bullish in what? Again, bullish or bearish? Most people are bearish, it looks like. I don't know. Depends on if the market wants rate cuts. Market wants rate cuts, we might react well to bad data. And I think that's what we're honestly seeing on the ADP report. ADP showed negative 13,500 jobs. Market went up, you know? So, I don't know. Mega bullish, bearish. You are all wrong. Top 3 wrongest. Listen, guys, we got 3.5 minutes left. Yeah, I can move Bitcoin up. I got you. Bullish looking for dips. Let's see. Bear. They'll just move the goalpost, kick the candle a little further. Will we cut rates in December? At this point, it's like 80-20. It might be a little bit higher than that now after the ADP data showed weak jobs numbers. I quit trading crypto because of manipulation. Now I'm trading Forex. Definitely no manipulation there. Am I right? All right, guys. We got gold on the top, Nvidia in the middle, Bitcoin on the bottom here. Here we go, guys. 3 minutes left. 3 minutes. It's a big day. Let's see what we get today. It's time. Again, PPI expected at 0.3%. Last time was negative 0.1% month over month. Core PPI expected at 0.2%. Last time was negative 0.1%. So PPI inflation actually had really good numbers last time. Really good numbers. This time we'll see if we get it. Again, PPI expected at 0.3. Core PPI expected at 0.2. Retail sales is, I'm not saying it's an afterthought. It's important, but it's not as important as PPI. So retail sales expected at 0.4%. 0.4%. Core retail sales expected at 0.3%. Regular PPI expected at 0.3%. We have 2 minutes left. Exactly. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up to the stream. We appreciate it, but PPI is about to drop. Two minutes. Just be careful today, guys. Market might be volatile. We got about a minute and a half left. Again, put it in 2x speed. Hit the live button next to the play button. You'll be real time on the stream. We appreciate it. Again, put it in 2x speed. Hit the live button next to the play button. You'll be real time on the stream. It's time. Deflation? Oh. The only way we're going to get deflation is if we enter a recession or something like that. All right, guys, here we go. Less than a minute. Less than a minute. Again, put it in 2x speed. You just hit the live button as well, though. We got 2,500 people here. Yeah, we got retail sales data. We got inflation data. All going live pretty soon. ADP data is out. It was not good. Sorry, you might see the screen flash a little bit. I'm trying to pull up my sources here so I can get it with, as soon as it drops. But here we go. We're ready. One more source. There we go. All right. Now we got all of them up. Here we go. Timer's a little bit early. Don't fret. Timer's a little bit early. We have about 10 seconds left. Again, here we go, guys. Really about 10 seconds now, but here we go. Let's see market move. And data release is about to happen. And here we go. Retail sales 0.2% versus 0.4% expected. Again, retail sales showed 0.2% versus 0.4% expected. Weaker than expected retail sales. Core retail sales ended up showing 0.3% versus 0.3% expected. So core retail sales showed up as expected at 0.3% versus 0.3% expected, and regular retail sales showed up at 0.2% versus 0.4% expected. So again, a little bit weaker than expected retail sales data, a little bit weaker than expected retail sales data. We're still waiting on the PPI data here, but a little bit worse than expected retail sales. PPI still not out yet for some reason. But again, regular retail sales showed up at 0.2% versus 0.4, 0.5% expected. PPI showed up at 0.3% versus negative 0.1% expected. So PPI is out. It's at 0.3% versus negative 0.1% last time. Expected at 0.3%. So PPI a little bit higher than expected, actually, but it came in mostly flat at 0.3% versus expected 0.3%. So PPI, again, 0.3% versus 0.3% expected. Core PPI. PPI excluding food, energy, and transport, 0.1%. 0.1%. But honestly, I don't know whether you consider this data necessarily good. Again, 2.7% year-over-year PPI. They expected 2.6%. So inflation came in a little bit higher than expected. Year-over-year was 2.7 versus 2.6%. Previous was 2.6% as well. So from the numbers I'm showing, we showed up mostly higher than expected for inflation data, like mostly higher than expected. Again, retail sales were weaker and inflation was higher, mostly 2.7% year-over-year for PPI. Month over month, we showed up essentially as expected at 0.3%. And again, retail sales were either weak or flat. So again, I'll put these numbers up on screen, but PPI data mostly showed. I don't think these numbers are good, to be honest. I think inflation data was mostly higher than expected almost everywhere. I think I don't necessarily think these numbers are good. I think they could have been better. Again, PPI 0.3% month over month, which many people are going to argue the month over month reading for inflation at PPI is what you want to focus on. Last time it showed up at negative 0.1%. This time it showed up at 0.3%. We did have core PPI show up at 2.6 though. So core PPI showed up at 2.6. It's a little bit better than the 2.7% expected, a little bit better than the previous one at 2.8%. Month over month was a little bit lower, but headline PPI was higher, 2.7% on the year, expected 2.6% or so. Month over month PPI was flat. And again, PPI year over year was 2.7%. NASDAQ's coming down a little bit. Retail sales, again, weaker than expected at 0.2%. Core retail sales were also about flat at 0.3%. I put all this data releases up on screen, but yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say they were good. Here's PPI right here. So again, here's PPI. On a month basis, it was mostly flat. I want to see what this does to yields. I'm putting them up in chat. I'll also put it up on the scroller on the bottom of the screen. But 0.3% for PPI. 2.7%. Core PPI was as expected, or maybe a little better than expected, but I don't necessarily think these numbers are necessarily good. And I think the market's kind of reacting in a similar way here. You can see it scrolling on the bottom. Core PPI, again, can be argued it was better than expected. But headline PPI was flat to higher. Again, we're now at 916s, 917s. Do you guys think these inflation numbers are good? Let me ask the chat. I'm going to end this poll right here. Do you consider these numbers good? I don't know. This is kind of a subjective thing. Do you consider today's PPI inflation numbers good? Again, I'll put up what actually showed up. The year over year was 2.7%. All right, so I put some expectations up. Do you consider today's PPI numbers good? The market doesn't. Market's dropping down here. We're at 24.9s right now. Do you think these numbers are good? Again, core PPI, again, headline PPI was, I wouldn't say is good. Core PPI was okay. Core PPI showed up at 2.6%, 0.1% month over month. Retail sales were weak though. So we had weak retail sales. Inflation was they revised the last year over year inflation up a little bit to 2.7%, I think, too. So NASDAQ's still falling down on this PPI report. You can see them scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, we're still dropping here. Let's see if we hold now. Again, Nvidia is still falling. Sales up, inflation up. Yeah, I already covered the core. Came in at 2.6, so core was a little bit better than expected. But yeah. Yeah, this is September data. This is delayed data. This is the data that we should have gotten in October, but we didn't. So we should have got this data in October. Again, the market's interpreting it as negative, which is kind of showing fear, you know. Still dropping. I don't know when we're going to get October data. I think we'll still get October PPI data, but they haven't really given us an update there. We're going to close green today. This report makes rate cuts less likely in the near term. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Core PPI was better than expected. It was lower than expected. Headline PPI was higher or flat. Depends on which expectation you had. So it's kind of a neutral report, to be honest. The market's interpreting it negative. What we don't see is like massive inflation spikes. We see inflation up a little bit. I don't necessarily think it's a good report, but I think it might be good enough to justify rate cuts if we take a look at it. I know that might seem kind of contradictory. How long have I been muted here, guys? I wonder how long I've been muted. My bad. I've been talking to myself over here, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yell at me. How long have I been muted? Somebody said 10 minutes? How long has it really been? All right, I'm scrolling. We can't hear you. John's muted. Top 3 silent streamers. Oh my gosh, dude. I've been muted for so long, bro. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. Buy the dip? Okay. I don't know how long I've been muted, but it's been a minute here. Bro, I'm on my travel computer here. I'm sorry. Listen, what I said here, this is what I said. All right. Let me recap what I've said here because I've been talking to myself for 5 minutes apparently. You gotta just laugh at it after a certain point. 2 minutes of silence for the market. Okay, listen, look at Nvidia drop right now. Nvidia's falling. I don't even think I bumped my mic. Top 3 worst mics ever. They should put a different freaking mute button on here. Anyways, guys, what I said is that so far today, we've had ADP weekly numbers for jobs show up at negative 13,500 job losses a week on average. That's bad for the labor market. We've had retail sales show up weaker than expected. That's bad for the labor market. We've had PPI inflation that's kind of neutral. Core PPI was a little bit lower than expected, actually by 0.1%. Regular PPI was basically high to as expected, a little bit higher to as expected at 2.7% on the year and 0.3% on the month. Right, so we've had kind of neutral inflation data, and I'm going to call it neutral because it's kind of neutral. You know, core was a little bit better, headline was a little bit worse to average, right? So kind of neutral inflation data, but weak jobs, weak labor, and weak retail sales is what we're seeing today. That's the data that's come out today. Again, weak labor, weak jobs, weak retail sales. And so that's what we got. I say that argues a little bit more for rate cuts, but it's definitely subjective. But again, I would argue that's a little bit better for rate cuts in December. But it's definitely subjective here, Chad. It's definitely subjective. Let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think? Will we cut rates in December? Does this report make it a little bit more likely? Yeah, Redbook retail sales for November 25 to date, 6% year over year. We love your news, buddy. Thank you, man. Top 3 greatest newses ever. We're cutting jobs. Jobs are falling apart. Oh, I'm reading the chat right now. But when a big data report's coming out, I can't really read the chat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm at my travel setup. I got an external monitor right now. It's not the best. It's kind of a crappy. It's not crappy. It's not the same as a real monitor, though. And so I got to consolidate everything I got to this external monitor. It's more difficult than it seems. I make it look easy because I'm just, incredibly intelligent. But it's not easy. Weak jobs, weak retail sales. What else is weak? What else needs to be weak? Hey, thank you, GK. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Bitcoin falling down. It's at 87,000 right now. 87,000. Comparable store sales at the nation's largest consumer electronics chain rose 2.7%, fueled by computing, gaming, and mobile. It was the biggest gain in 3 years. Definitely top 10 most intelligent traders out there. Top 3 tech savvy streamers. Yeah, definitely top 3 greatest tech maneuverable streamers. Yeah. Yeah, it's looking more likely that the Bank of Japan is going to raise rates too. And that's scaring a lot of people as well. I don't know. I knew somebody that had one of those new Tundras. It was cool. They had like a camera in the rearview mirror. Like, I liked it. Will Jerome Powell save us? Nasdaq's starting to pop back up a little bit higher here, though. Look at this. Alibaba again says for the next 3 years, AI resources will be in a state of supply. There's not going to be an AI bubble in the next 3 years, given strong demand and short supply. Again, I feel the urge to just stick this up here. I am not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Top 3 least financial professionals in the world right now. Don't copy me. Half the time I have no idea what I'm talking about. And sometimes I might leave the stream muted for 3 minutes. Oblivious. So don't copy me. Not liable if you do. Don't do it. With that said, though, the NASDAQ still looks pretty weak. Bitcoin looks weak. Nvidia looks weak. Google and Meta announced some news today that Meta is going to be using Google chips, kind of sidestepping away from Nvidia. Nvidia's down on that release. Meta's up. As somebody that's in Meta right now, and I'm in a lot of different stuff, you know, I'm not the maddest about this news report, but yeah. Can you explain how Japan rates increase impact to U.S. markets, please? Yes. So, okay. So generally speaking, over the last while, the Bank of Japan has maintained a pretty low interest rate environment, which is optimal if you want to use the Japanese yen to buy up, to get cheap leverage on U.S. assets, right? You can use the Japanese yen, get leverage, interest rates are low, so you're essentially getting not free money, but really low interest money. And then you can buy U.S. assets with it and make money that way. And that's all good and fine until the Bank of Japan, they did this big stimulus, which, you know, involved them selling a bunch of bonds. And when you sell off a bunch of bonds, what happens, right? The bond prices fall and yields consequently go up, right? Because inverse relationships are there between bond prices and yields. When bond prices fall, yields go up. And so those higher yields are higher interest rates, which means that, you know, you're going to get less optimum scenario for using the Japanese yen, and a lot of people might be forced to sell off their U.S. their yen-backed assets, essentially. If the Bank of Japan raises interest rates, that's another thing that's going to, you know, spike yields. Interest rates are going to be higher. You're going to have less favorable leverage and interest rates using the Japanese yen, and people might sell off more U.S. assets with it, if that makes sense. It's kind of nuanced, but if that hopefully that makes sense. Correct. Baked Benji. December 1st, the Fed starts quantitative easing. Do you think they're going to start QE? Again, I've said this before. Just because they're ending QT doesn't mean they're necessarily going to do QE. Quantitative tightening is the Fed reducing their balance sheet. Like they, you know, so they're slowly over time reducing the size of their balance sheet, which is made up of like MBSs and bond and treasury bonds and other stuff. Them stopping quantitative tightening, they might keep their balance sheet the same size for a while. You know, they could start printing. And again, QE is where they create online money and then use that money to buy up a bunch of bonds. It's money printing. You know, they could start printing, but they also could just let current holdings mature and then swap them out for new ones, keeping their balance sheet effectively the same size. Now, it's still likely that eventually they're going to start easing, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to start easing on December 1st. Put that into perspective. 85% chance of a December cut. Yeah, I mean, I think the data today looks, you know, looks like we're gonna. I think it means more likely that we're gonna cut rates. And yeah, I think markets are digesting this the same. Again, the thing about it is that the ADP numbers were weak. Market's starting to bounce back though, but yeah, we got about an 85% chance of a 25 basis point cut at this point, about an 85% chance. So again, and I think this is mostly due to weak retail sales, neutral inflation, and really bad ADP private payroll numbers. ADP private payroll showing up at negative 13,500 on a week average is not good numbers at all. Not good numbers at all. And that's even, like, to understand more of the context of this, ADP has kind of been more accurate than the NFP report that we get sometimes. I'm not saying it always is, but I would also say that we've seen a lot of revisions in the labor reports. The ADP numbers have been more accurate the first time they're reported. You know, we get a lot of revisions in the labor data, so, you know, that's something to take into consideration here as well and understand, you know. But yeah, 85% roughly chance of a rate cut in December now. Is this the last data that can affect the rate cuts? I don't know. I think we got some data that's coming out. I think we might get PCE inflation now on like December 5th, which is 5 days before the rate decision. So we get some other inflation data coming out, I think, before the next Fed meeting, but we're not going to get we'll see what next week looks like. I think tomorrow we get jobless claims, durable goods. So we get jobless claims weekly numbers as well, which is how many people are filing for unemployment week to week. It's another look at the labor market that we get every week now. And that's tomorrow. And so we got some stuff coming out before the next Fed meeting, but these are some of the bigger reports that are coming out. They are not going to cut rates. They're not going to cut rates. Weren't we at a 45% chance last Tuesday? Yeah, it's been swinging up and down, to be honest. Like these numbers have been going up and down. And this kind of happens sometimes. We're not going to know, like, if you want to know what we're going to do, look at it ahead of, like, look at it the same day as the Fed meeting or like the day before the Fed meeting. That's usually much more accurate way to look at it. Unemployment did uptick in the last labor report that we got. It was 4.4%, although payroll numbers showed up at 119,000. So, also, guys, it's some big news here. It's some big news, and again, we are going to be day trading opening bell live. And some big news this morning. Hold on, let me find it. We had Meta is going to be using Google chips. Meta's going to be using Google chips, and we'll see what that looks like. Hold on. And again, Nvidia is down partially on that news. Nasdaq's still kind of tumbling down here, and Bitcoin is down under 87,000 as we speak, under 87K. And remember, tomorrow we got jobless claims. We're heading towards the opening bell. We're going to be day trading live at the opening bell as well here today, guys. So stick around. We got into one really good trade, and I got really lucky. And I'm trading on Top Step right now, guys. But I got into one really good trade earlier. I got in, and then the Ukraine peace deal news showed up. And I just had a huge pump up so fast. You love to see it. And again, sometimes it's better to be lucky than skillful. And I would credit that to me, you know. Yeah, I would credit. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than skillful. But yeah, yesterday, guys, we got a big update from Top Step. And Top Step's a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, of course, but genuinely useful for traders. Helps traders limit their risk. Most day traders are going to lose money day trading. When I got started, I funded $8 grand, $3 grand, $4 grand into an account and lost all of it in like a week or two. It makes no sense to do that. Most day traders are going to lose their first few accounts. And so Top Step gives you a better option. $50 a month for the base one. If you pass it, they fund you $50K, 90% split, which is similar to funding your own account. If you fail it, you lose $50 roughly. So it's not the end of the world. They had a big update yesterday. They've lowered the XFA activation fee and also added a new option to trade without one, their lowest all-in price. So the same trading combine, same rules. Now you can choose how you want to start. You got option 1 now with Top Step, which is pay $89 a month for your combine and nothing when you pass it. So if you do this option, there's no activation fee. This is probably for the better traders who can pass it in 1 to 2 attempts, right? Dialed in, pass it in 1 to 2 attempts. Even if you go with the old one, which is option 2, which is $49 a month with they've lowered the activation fee now to $129. And so it's good for traders building consistency and working on their strategy. And so just a really good option. They've lowered the price of the activation fee essentially, as well as giving you another option if you want to get started with no activation fee and pay a little bit more up front. That's fine too. And again, if you want to check them out, I'll put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. no PDT in futures, so it gets you around the PDT rule. This is a really good way to learn. Most day traders lose money, so learning in an environment like this, in my opinion, makes perfect sense because you're still risking something. It's a smaller amount. You're learning how to trade. You pass it, you still get 90% split once you're funded, and I think that makes way more sense. And so again, if you want to check it out, great way to help support the channel. I'll put the link up and you can check them out. But again, if you want to check it out, great way to help support the channel. Let me see if I can get you a link directly to this. Post this on my phone. I'm trying to multitask here for you guys. You're welcome. Post this on my phone. Yeah, here's the link. There you go. All right, I posted it. I'm also going to pin it to the top of the chat. Do you think the president used ChatGPT for trade deals? I don't know, guys. I don't know. And again, we are going to be day trading live today. What do we do here in the markets, guys? Is this bull or bearish? Are you guys buying or selling right now? I don't know what to do here. Oh, yeah, there's an inverse Kramer. Shorting, I'd say I'm bearish. So a lot of bears are out right now. It's looking bearish too. It looks a little bit heavier, but maybe we'll get a double bottom here. I see somebody mentioning that. See Steve. Yeah, the old one stays the same rules, I think. Kelly, I think they might lower the activation fee overall, but I'm not 100% sure. You have to reach out to them. Yeah, you can go to that link above and check out the new update if you want. It's pinned at the top of the chat. I'm bullish always. December 3rd micro. Might short later. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The only argument against shorting. Now, sometimes at the opening bell the last few weeks, we've seen crazy turns of momentum on the upside and the downside. I think it's been a little bit more at the downside at the opening bell, but that doesn't mean anything. It can always change. And so I'm curious to see what we get in that context today. Blurry puts are ripping up. You talk about Burry? That's a good nickname for him, though, Blurry. I'm sure there's some nicknames to make from that. Yeah, PPI is out. It might be scrolling at the bottom of the screen, potentially. I'm not saying it is, but it could be a scroller at the bottom of the screen. I'm a pessimistic bull. I'm a skeptical bull. Nvidia's starting to head back up. I think the only argument against bears today is that Nvidia's already down a bunch. You know what I mean? Like, Nvidia's down a lot already. Bitcoin's down. And so maybe some extension already. Maybe we fill some of the gap, so to speak. Yeah, I'm not, look, shorting Jim Cramer's fine. But you got to understand something. Long term, you're still probably going to lose if you bet against the market. And so if you bet against the market long term, you're going to lose. Why? Because the market generally moves up over time. S&P, NASDAQ, Dow average 10% plus, especially the last few years. Sometimes it's like 8 or 7%, but generally it's about 10% the last few years or more. And so the longer you hold a short position, if you're shorting Mag 7 or indexes like the NASDAQ and S&P, the less likely you are to make money in them over time. And I'm talking over long periods of time, like 10 years plus, right? And so, you know, again, I like poking fun at Kramer just like everybody else, but you also don't want to get talked into shorting some of the healthiest assets in the world. It's just not a safe bet. Even if there's some edge, I'm not interested in doing it. I think a lot of people get wrapped up in it and they romanticize it, and they watch The Big Short and they want to be so contrarian and, you know, intelligent and all this stuff. And so they end up just kind of taking some dumb trades and shorting the healthiest assets in the world. And then those healthiest assets, which are going to move up over time, destroy them. And then, you know, they're mad about it and they cry manipulation or whatever it is. I see this happen a lot. And so for me, you know, maybe we're in a bubble. We could certainly be in a bubble, but I'm not going to short it. You know, I'd rather just stop buying if we're in a bubble. Is that his new nickname? Is his new nickname Burry? Top 3 blurriest. Bubble equals no swings. Yeah. If we do have a bubble burst, I'm just going to add to it over time, probably. All right, lenders fear overexposure to Oracle's lower credit rating, and OpenAI noting developers borrowed $65 billion for Oracle data centers tied to OpenAI, according to the information. We also had the Case-Shiller house price index show up at negative 0.5%. Previous was negative 0.6%. So the Case-Shiller house price index showed up at negative 0.5% today. It's just a gully. Yeah, listen, the truth is like poetry, and most people effing hate poetry. The Big Short is where I saw that quote. Well, it's honestly one of my favorite quotes nowadays. I think it's absolutely true. I hate poetry. I don't know if I'm just not sensitive enough. Top 3 most sensitive ever. But I've never had the urge to read poetry, ever. You know, never had the urge to write poetry. If I did write it, it'd probably sound like a 3rd grader. So, yeah. Let me know if you like poetry in chat. What's your bias for today? I don't really have a bias right now. I think we've seen a lot of weak labor reports lately. And so I think odds of a rate cut are up. Now that could positively affect markets, and it kind of did after the ADP numbers showed up at negative 13,500, which if it's a normal situation, that would be bad news. But if the market wants rate cuts, kind of interpreted as positive. Since then, though, we had PPI show up kind of flat to neutral to bad. Market has turned the other way now and starting to trend back down. Nvidia's weak after getting played by Meta, essentially, is what happened. Meta decided to potentially go with Google for AI. And now Nvidia's down to 174s. Any more reports that can move markets? I think we got CP consumer confidence at 10 a.m. No? I'm pretty sure we do. Yeah, poetry, I mean, I'm not judging you. Like, listen, there's some people that are genuinely creative and thoughtful and can write some cool stuff. I'm not one of those people in poetry, you know? I love it, Mama Pawn. That's right, you know? Roses are red. John is top 3. If you want economic news, he gives it to you for free. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. Top 3 poems ever right there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Consumer confidence. We had Michigan consumer sentiment. It was better than expected on Friday last week. So, yeah, we got some stuff. CB consumer confidence pending home sales. Yeah. See what we get. We'll see what we get. Johnny Smooth, that's right. You know. All All right, NASDAQ's still coming down here. We're at 854s right now, 853s. All right, let's day trade the opening bell now. I've already gotten to one good trade at least. I should be up enough right now. Do we pump it? Look at the market fall here. I almost want to buy this dip though. Should I try to buy a falling knife? I don't know. Dude, my acid reflux has been bad lately. Like, my nose is all stopped up when I wake up in the morning. I think I eat too much and then fall asleep. I'm in Louisiana, too, so I've been eating a lot of Cajun food. We ate, like, fried crab legs yesterday, and boudin balls, and a bunch of fried catfish and shrimp. So... and then they had like chocolate chip pecan pie. And I just ate all of it right before I fell asleep. And now I wake up and my nose is stuffy. If you had $1,200 a year and put $100 in one stock every month, what would it be? Does it have to be the same stock every month? Realistically, in my opinion, probably the better move is to slowly diversify into maybe like 5 or 6 and then add to them over time. But not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Yeah, I've had po' boys. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I've definitely had po' boys. I like po' boys. Yeah, I'm in Baton Rouge right now, guys. That's where I'm at. So. Yeah, po' boys are great. What's up, Straight Jacket? Honestly, the Louisiana gas stations are the best food you'll ever eat. You know, anybody from here understands, but I think a lot of people that aren't from here don't really understand how good the gas station food is. You can get like cracklins, you can get all kind of good stuff at the gas stations here. Yeah, we got 20 minutes before market opens. Hit the live button next to the play button. Yeah, you gotta hit the live button next to the play button. Some of y'all seem delayed, but we got 20 minutes left. 20 minutes. Your accent is great. Yeah, I mean, I've been live streaming for years, you know, so I think over time. I mean, I'm from Baton Rouge. Uh, I had much more of an accent when I first started, but over time, I don't know. Over time, my accent just went. I've lived in Texas for so long now that I don't know if I'm necessarily adopting a Texas accent, but I think some of the Cajun slowly leaves over time. It depends on if I'm talking to somebody from here though, it'll come right back. You know, so it depends on who I'm talking to. What's a crayfish, bro? I don't even know what a crayfish is, dude. I'm just joking. I know what it is. We don't call them that here, you know. I remember High Neighbor, dude. It's no longer there. You might be talking about the High Neighbor. There's a couple of them. There used to be one on Drusilla. High Neighbor. I remember High Neighbor on Drusilla. I think it's something else now. I don't remember what it is now. It's not High Neighbor anymore. Yeah, again, Top Step now has their no activation fee option where you can pay, I think it's $89. Let me check. And $89 for the base combine, and then when you activate it, when you pass it, no activation fee. They recently updated it, really useful. You can check out the link pinned to the top of the page for more information, but that's a great choice, great option. And regardless, even if you go back to the previous one, they've lowered the activation fee universally anyway. So even if you don't choose that option, the regular same old option they had before now lowered the activation fee as well. So, you know, good things all around, basically. And again, of course, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased, but genuinely useful. Check them out at the link pinned at the top of the chat. No, I'm just messing with you, Monty. Yeah, I got to go to an LSU game. LSU sucks this year. I mean, listen. Nussmeier's hurt. I went to an LSU game. It was fun. I hadn't been in a while. Luckily, my knee and my foot made it. You know, because there's a lot of walking involved. But yeah, it was fun. My kids got to see one. Does the link not work? Let me check it out. Let me click this link, make sure it works. Oh, the link isn't working. Oh, weird. Let me see if they gave me a better link to use. Okay, this one's working, but I guess they said they updated it. Here, let me, I got you guys. Here's the updated link. If you want the better link, it's right here. There you go. I'll pin that one to the top of the page. We did bounce at 850. I was really thinking about buying 850 here. Yeah, Top Step's meant for day trading purely, but check out the new link. That new link should work. I just tried it. Yeah, so this link works. My bad, guys. I don't know why the other one didn't work. And if you're following me on x.com at beginner trades, this is one of the, I don't have enough screens to really compile the data to report it as fast as I normally do on x.com. So we'll be back home soon, and we'll be back to posting our stuff on X. We're just not home right now. I'm on vacation, so. But give me a follow at beginner trades. I appreciate it. We got 15 minutes until the market opens. 15 minutes. Yeah, Nvidia's rebounded up a little bit here. You can also see Bitcoin is slightly down on the day. Gold is up. Google, again, helping markets right now. But even they're dipping down a little bit. But they're up to 330s. What a wild move for Google. Over 300s. I remember them being at 303s. They're at 330s now. Again, Meta doing good as well. And again, my dip buy on Meta finally worked. It took so long. But we'll see if Meta keeps bouncing back. But Meta at 624s right now. So. Now, Top Step's futures trading. Yeah, New Orleans is fun, man. You can't trade stocks. It's mostly futures. Snake. It's all futures. It's futures trading. Futures, you can day trade commodities, S&P, NASDAQ, Dow. So you can trade indexes, commodities. It's very similar to day trading stocks. You can trade indexes, which move similar to stocks. You can't trade direct stocks. But the patterns are similar, in my opinion. No PDT rule, so it gets you around the PDT rule and a bunch of good stuff. So, hey, later, Baked. Yeah, I'm probably about break even now. There were two previous trades that I lost money on. So. Again, there's reports that Meta is considering using Google AI chips over Nvidia's. Google's up a lot. Nvidia's down on this news. NASDAQ is now down after weak retail sales, flat inflation, and really bad ADP job numbers at negative 13,500 here. Looking at our poll numbers here, I asked people, do you consider today's PPI inflation numbers good? 52% say yes, 48% say no. I don't think they're terrible. But we'll see what the market does at the opening bell in 12 minutes. But I don't think the numbers were necessarily like the worst they could be. I don't think they... I think the ADP numbers were bad. So I did think the ADP numbers were bad, but we'll see what we get. Again, tomorrow we get jobless claims and durable goods. We got CB consumer confidence at 10 a.m. today as well. So listen, guys, I know we're muted right now. I was on the phone. You don't have to tell me. I'm not going to do what everybody thinks I'm going to do. But yeah, look at Meta. Meta's at 624s right now. Engine Capital calls board on Unifist first to explore sale. Kohl's. Yeah, we had Best Buy earnings, Kohl's earnings, Analog Devices earnings this morning. I need a bear bull poll. All right, guys, 11 minutes until the opening bell. We'll see what we get. Is Michael Burry winning right now? I don't know. It depends on where he's shorted. Where's Palantir? I don't know if he's winning on Nvidia. Palantir at 160s. Palantir is probably kind of flat. He probably entered these positions, and again, we're speculating. I'm not 100% sure. But he probably entered these positions roughly September. So I think he probably got in the Palantir position around 155. So in that context, he'd be a little bit red. In Nvidia terms, I think he's probably still red in both of them, if he's still in his short. He closed Scion down, though. So, I mean, it depends on where he re-entered. If he re-entered once he went private, or if he even had to, which I'm not sure. It depends. We don't know for sure. Man. I got the sun in my eyes. Yeah, I mean, I could probably use a haircut. I don't know, my wife likes it long, so I kind of like it short, but she likes the curls. So you guys will be all right. All right, Nasdaq's kind of consolidating sideways here. We got about 8.5 minutes left until the market opens, so we will see what we get today. But yeah, Google's just flying up. Yeah, that's how it goes, I think, sometimes. Yeah, I think he just meant that in terms of hair. At least I meant, yeah. Why is Google going up today? So Meta's considering using their chips versus Nvidia's. That's why Nvidia's down, Google's up. All right, Nasdaq's testing that 850 level again here. Yeah, polls at 53% thinks the PPI report was good. Let's take a look at where yields are at. I'm curious to see where they're at. They originally reacted well to the PPI report, like up. They're down. Okay, yeah, yields are down. So I think the weak labor data, the weak retail sales data is just scaring people, causing odds of rate cuts to go up, which would make yields fall. Yields and interest rates follow each other, right? So if yields are falling down, that means we have a lower interest rate sentiment. If yields are going higher, it means we have a higher interest rate sentiment. Yields are down right now. They're at 4.019%. They were at about 4.03% this morning. So they are down net from all this stuff. And we're heading into the opening bell now. So we'll see where they go. I think the odds of rate cuts are now what? Yeah, odds of a rate cut are now 85% is what I'm showing. 85%. So in December. Again, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Help us grow. Sorry if there's some flashing on the screen. It's just me clicking stuff. I'm at my computer, so got to pull everything up, and I don't know why it flashes whenever I do that. I'll have to look at the settings. No, I get it, Pawn. I could understand if you didn't hear the conversation, you might think that was an inappropriate comment, but we were talking about hair. Japanese yields are going up. That's bad. India and Canada kick off FTA talks soon, according to the Trade Minister Goyle. Yeah, all good. All right, guys, so we're still holding that 850 level. We're consolidating sideways. I'm curious to see what we get at the opening bell in 5 minutes. I really am. We've had really weak ADP job numbers. We've had neutral PPI data. We've had weak retail sales data. And so now we are heading into the opening bell. After all of this data has come out, Challenger job cuts are up 65% from 2024 per Challenger. So again, more weak signs in the labor market, guys. More weak signs. It's a Burry special day. Where's Michael Burry at? I read his report this morning. He dropped it a couple days ago, but the report basically said that historically in bubbles, there's a couple signs that we're seeing mirrored right now in the current market. Those signs are specifically that in historical bubbles, one of the big telltale signs has been there's a lot of competition in one specific niche that everybody's vying for. And so because of that, you're getting a lot of big money flowing into it, but there's only so much that can go around. And so because of that, like innate competition dynamic, you start to see some of these companies fail and bubbles bursting, and then that causes big corrections and pullbacks. Is essentially what he said in his article. And again, let me know if you guys agree with that. I can't remember what the article was titled, but it was something like that. Do you guys agree with it? Let me know. All right, guys, here we go. 3 minutes. Nasdaq's sideways. Oppenheimer analyst reiterated a buy rating on Symbotic today. Set a price target $83. Again, job cuts up 65% from 2024 per Challenger, Gray, and Christmas. Speaking of Christmas, are we going to get a Santa rally this year? Let me know. What do you guys think? Top 3 biggest bubble ever right now. Y'all don't remember the tulip? I mean, to be fair, wasn't that like 1,000 years ago? You know, I don't think any of us here remember the tulip. We might know about the tulip, but remembering is a different thing. You know? Point is to find the winner. I kind of agree with that. When was the tulip? Was it at the 1400s? When was it? That was like what, 600 years ago? Only if we have rate cuts. Santa rally, yes on Santa since quantitative tightening ends. Will the market crash? I don't know, man. Eventually, yes, but that's inevitable. All right, Nasdaq broke under 850s, popping right back up. We got less than 2 minutes. Tulip mania. All right, here we go. I'm green on the day. Hopefully I can hold on to this green. Let me take a look at something real quick. Okay. Yeah, so we're so green on this one though, guys. I'm gonna switch to a different one. Put this one up. All right, guys. Opening bell's almost here. Make sure you guys can see all this. There we go. All right. That should be clean. Let me know if that works. That should be good. All right, guys, opening bell soon here. Here's the bell. Good luck. All right. So, Nasdaq sideways. Meta's falling down a little bit. Nvidia's trending. I see green. Crashes aren't as worrying about. Yeah, most of the time when we crash, not everybody thinks we're gonna crash. You know, Nasdaq coming down a little bit at the open though. Bearish action continuing here. I'm gonna wait 5 minutes to trade. Let this play out first. Nasdaq down. Look at this drop. Doesn't mean anything yet. It's still too close to the bell for me. Everything's kind of correcting back down, even Google here. Gold, everything. Here's Bitcoin. Let's see what happens. We've had a little bit of red at the open, but it's not a lot yet. Doesn't mean too much yet. We'll see what happens. All right, let's see if we retrace back up here, guys. Let's see if we rebound. Meta's popping back here. Nvidia's still down, though. Meta's rebounding all the way back up, at least. Right back to where it was prior to the opening bell. Hit 626 right before the open. It's at 623s right now. All right, so we're bouncing back with some stuff. Nvidia's still down there. It's at 174s. I think if Nvidia breaks under 170, it might scare people. We'll see, though. But I think if Nvidia breaks under 70, it might scare people. We do have CB consumer confidence at 10 a.m. That's true. Yep. We'll cover it. Nvidia at 173s. Look at Nvidia fall. I mean, it looks bearish here, but we're too close to the bell. I gotta follow my rules. Yeah. Google filled the whole gap on the upside down to 320s here this morning. Make sure there's no breaking news. Yeah, I don't see any news. Look at Nvidia, guys. Nvidia down to, it tapped under 173 for a second here. Look at this. JP Morgan warns key market risks heading into 2026. They warn that while 25 has been strong for stocks, the S&P is up 14%, boosted by AI. The outlook for 26 next year is uncertain. Joyce Chang, JP Morgan's head of research, said the markets face risks despite positive factors like higher capex, AI adoption, and deregulating. Key concerns about labor market weakness, cost of living, and more. Google's bouncing back a little bit, though. It's at 323s. Nvidia's bouncing back, it looks like, a little bit as well, but I'm kind of unsure about all of this right now. I'm not really sure which direction. The range is kind of small relative to what we've seen at the opening bell. Yeah, the volume's light. Nvidia popped back, though, so did Google a little bit. But we could still be in a downward trend. Remember when Burry said wait until November 25th? He was talking about some type of crypto thing. So I think Burry was talking about some type of crypto catalyst, if I remember correctly. Wasn't he? Yeah, I don't know what to do here. I mean, a lot of stuff's retraced. It kind of looks bullish now, but you never know for sure. And the range is so small. I got to wait for this range to break here, to be honest. I don't really want to mess with it until this range at least cracks somewhat here, you know. I don't know. Vote on the poll. All right, Nvidia turning back down, testing lows of the day now. Testing 173 even. Nvidia just cracked lows of the day, or at least it's getting very close to it. Retraced right back up at the low. Again, we're kind of neutral here, chat. Back and forth. Yeah, I'm talking about since the opening bell. Nvidia's down on the day for sure on the Meta, Google, Catalyst news. But I'm talking about since the bell. It's now testing lows. 173 again for Nvidia. Market's turning back down. Yeah, SPY's less tech heavy than the Q or NASDAQ. So I'm waiting to trade. I just don't see anything I like. I kind of want to short right now, but Google rebounding is the only thing that makes me a little nervous about it. Google's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green candles in a row as of now, and the range is so choppy in markets. You guys red or green today? I'm green. I've only traded once. Look at Apple. Apple's flying up at 280s right now. Apple's a heavily weighted stock too. So I'm kind of bearish here. I'm gonna try to short, and then we rip up as soon as I buy it. I've been really lucky today, so I think let's see if we get lucky again. Kind of flat right now. I'll short again here, but we're gonna leave it 2 contracts here, and that's it. Try to give it some time. See if we can break down here. There we go. Let's go green. All right, we're green. I'm going to reduce my size half a contract there and just lock in the profit, and then see if I can hold the rest a little bit longer here. Maybe add to it if it goes in my favor. Here we go. Yep. I'm going to add to this now. There we go. Cut it. Cut it right there too. All right. Good short. Good short. Nvidia cracked lows right on it, so yeah, we got CP consumer confidence in 20 minutes. Could have held this a little bit longer too, I think, but that's all right. Look at this drop. Meta's creeping back up too. Apple's looking pretty strong. Yeah, let me get that ready. It's been so long since I've had a jobless claims report, man. The good old days, jobless claims. It's been so long. NASDAQ still looking weak here. Nasdaq still looking weak here. Look at Nvidia still dumped down here. I think we got durable goods orders tomorrow too. I have to go back and check to make sure. Still testing lows. Let's watch the 780 level. Still breaking down here. Still flush. Look at this. I should have held that short position. Look at Nvidia, guys. Watch 170s. I think psychological area of 170 just makes sense to pay attention to. So like watch 170s. I think 170s makes the most sense to pay attention to and focus on. And again, we'll see what happens, but watch 170s. I think that's the big level we probably want to watch. Nvidia at 171s right now as we speak, so it's getting close to that. Oh, I'm gonna be glad to get back home on my computer. All right, so we broke it down a lot. All right, again, we got CB consumer confidence in 15 minutes, chat. 15 minutes. Again, 15 minutes. CB consumer confidence data. We'll see what it moves, but I'm not sure what we're going to get. We'll see if it moves. Nvidia is still looking kind of weak here, though. And again, guys, check out TopStep. TopStep just debuted their new updates to their activation fee. So they reduced, even if you don't want to go with their new option, they reduced their activation fee to, I think, $130. NASDAQ's still flushing down. They also give you a new option now where if you want to pay a little bit more for your combine, when you activate it, there's no activation fee. So if you pay $89 per month for your trading combine and nothing when you pass it, this is kind of for the best traders who can pass it in 1 or 2 attempts. But even if you go back to the old option and you still use the same option, they reduced the activation fee to $129. So again, they lowered the XFA activation fee overall and then added a new option to trade without one. So really, really useful. Again, you can see the link pinned at the top of the page if you want more information on this update. Really, really useful. NASDAQ still flushing down. Again, watch, again, they're a sponsor of mine, of course. I'm biased. Genuinely useful for traders, though, in my opinion. Just a great way to learn. Most day traders lose money, so I would much rather risk $50 if I pass the test, get a 90% split, or risk, what, $89, and if I pass it, there's no activation fee, versus losing thousands of dollars funding my own account and probably losing it like I did in the beginning. It just makes more sense to learn with a smaller amount of risk. You're still risking something. 90% split once you're funded anyway, so it's similar to funding your own account, and I think that just makes way more sense. But again, not an investment professional. Top 3 least financial professional people in the world. Don't copy me. Understand all this stuff on screen. Again, they're a sponsor of mine. I am biased, of course. Understand all this stuff. Can't guarantee anything. Understand CFTC 4.41. I'm a partner of theirs, so definitely biased, but genuinely useful for traders, in my opinion. Is what out yet? Inflation data? Yeah, inflation data's out. Again, NASDAQ, S&P, Dow, all trending lower now. Meta's doing okay. It's doing okay. Gold flushing down a little bit here. And I might buy this up right now. Let me see. Where's my... I kind of want to buy this. I'm going to try to buy it. It's risky to buy, but hey, we got a cushion on the day already. I just want to see if Nvidia is going to bounce at 180. I'll add to it if we do. We're green. We're going to add a little bit more to it now. Make that pop up. We're about flat. I'm going to reduce size by about half right there, just in case. I might add it back, but I want to see if Nvidia bounces at 180, and I'm worried it might not. So if that's the case, I'd rather get out flat here. And this is me day trading on Top Step's funded account program. This is Top Step X right here. 0 commission on Top Step X as well. All right, I'm going to add one more to this, see if we pop right back up. Kind of fake out here, but... yeah, we got to cut some of this. We popped right back up, though. I know we're green on multiple. We haven't really lost too much day trading today. I think we made mostly money. The only problem is, like, I think Nvidia might try to bounce at 170. But if it doesn't, it might flush big. So I'm going to cut that right there. That's probably the first losing trade I've had all morning. Maybe 650 would have been a better bounce level here. I'm watching Nvidia. It's definitely looking a little scary. PPI numbers were mostly flat. Let me see how much. Let me see which account we're trading. We got a couple different accounts on Top Step. The good thing is you can have multiple different accounts on Top Step as well. I need my old mouse here, guys. What time is it? Okay, we got 10 minutes before CB Consumer Confidence. Okay, yeah, so we're good. Put this back up. I lost like, I think we're down like 30 bucks on this account on the day. We're green on another one, so we're still net positive. Look at that breakdown here, though. Uh-oh. All right, we'll try to buy the dip again. Don't catch a falling knife, guys. Don't copy me. Add to it here. Let's see if we can rip up. Go green on the day. There we go. I'm gonna take half off right there just to lock in some profit. Let the rest try to work here. I wanted to wait until Nvidia hit lows, but man, that's a big drop. I'm gonna see if we bounce at 600 right here. All right, let's see if we bounce. Here's 600. We definitely bounced a little bit. There we go. I'm gonna cut another piece there. Look at that trade. All right, we're out. 600 bounce worked. Yeah, the 600 bounce worked really well. Big whole dollar number. We also had Nvidia bounce pretty close to 170, which is what I thought might happen. We got CB Consumer Confidence numbers at 10. So, again, CB Consumer Confidence numbers at 10. I should have held that bounce. We just retraced so fast that I had to take profit because like we're trying to fight our way back and go green on the day in this account. We did, I think. Let me see. Let me spread this out and see the top. Yeah, we're green on the day. Okay, so we went green on the day. We're green on every account we have now. But man, what a rebound back up. That $600 level right here, that level worked. This is why I watch big whole dollar numbers, is because We're also trending towards 700s now. I think, like, also when you look at Nvidia, 170 psychological level. I think under 160s or under 170s is a bad look for Nvidia. I think it wants to stay over that, at least short term. We're definitely not crashing right now. We're down a little bit since the open, but it's not the worst it could be. Gold's falling down this morning. Meta's flat. Again, Apple's had some big moves. Google is down a little bit, but still technically green on the day. You dip, I dip, we dip. That's all I'm saying. Nvidia up to 172.40s. Some of you guys are probably too young to understand that reference. What's causing the market to drop? Nvidia, I would say. Mostly Nvidia. Google giving back some of the gains, and Nvidia still weak. Am I a boomer for knowing that song? Dude, everybody my age knows that song, dude. Everybody does. Yeah, I got really confused. Like I saw some video about, it's like the wobble. Or no, maybe it was a different song. I remember being at roller skating rinks and they used to do these dances, and now they call it the same thing, but it's a different dance, and it confused me. I can't remember what it was. Anyways, NASDAQ bouncing back up. We're at 750s. Boomers don't know that song? Yeah, you're probably right. Boomers are realistically listening to like Frank Sinatra or something like that. I don't, you know. Brandy, you're a fine girl, you know. Pink Floyd. I like Pink Floyd, but boomers love Hotel California. Yeah, I like Hotel California too, but all right, NASDAQ back up to 750s here. I said I liked Hotel California. That doesn't mean boomers aren't listening to it, though. I like Brandy, you're a fine girl, you know. I'm just saying. My dad's a boomer. I'm trying to ask him what he listens to. All right, guys. NASDAQ's flying back up. You love to see it here, I guess. Just tap 775. Let's see if we get over this 24.8s. I like the doors. No, I'm from Louisiana. Like, look at this. Look at this house I'm at right now. Definitely not from California. You see that over there? I don't know if y'all can see that. Let me make this a little bit larger for you guys. Look at that picture over there. We got a Christmas tree up, you know. It's a pretty cool house. There's Louisiana pictures everywhere. Dude, I don't know how I got muted again. It's not too early for a Christmas tree, though. I called it early this time. I know. I'm on it. Yeah, I know. It's back, guys. It's back. Listen. Tupac. NASDAQ still floating back up here. Let the good times roll. Top 3 Christmas trees. NASDAQ's up 24,800s. All right, guys, CB consumer confidence data. A minute. 1 minute. CB consumer confidence data. We'll see what we get. Oh, dude, get this ad out of here. There we go. All right, CB consumer confidence. It's expected today. Chat. CB consumer confidence data. It's expected at 93.5. Today, 93.5. We also have pending home sales expected at 0.5%. 0.5% pending home sales. CB consumer confidence, 93.5. We'll see what it looks like. $93.5 for CB consumer confidence, pending home sales 0.5%. 1 minute left, exactly 1 minute. I fixed the clock on my computer, by the way. NASDAQ is pumping up though. Nvidia back up to 173s. I told you guys we might bounce at that 170 area for Nvidia, and we did. Meta's flying up to 630, so you love it. You love it. I'm gonna put gold up here. But I'm gonna put Bitcoin back up too. All right, guys, less than a minute. Oh, I figured out how I'm accidentally muting. I figured out how I'm accidentally muting the mic. This laptop has a mute button on it that I've been accidentally clicking when I try to backspace. That's what's been going on. Richmond manufacturing ended up showing up at -15 versus -5 expected. -15 versus -5 expected. Again, the data's about to be released right now. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you fully catch up to the stream here. And there's the release right there. CB consumer confidence data showed up at 88.7, lower than expected at 88.7 versus 93.5 expected. Pending home sales increased, though, at 1.9% month over month versus 0.5% expected. Again, 1.9% month over month versus 0.5% expected. But the CB consumer confidence showing up weak at 88.7. versus 93.5 expected. Weak consumer confidence, high pending home sales at 1.9%. Again, weak consumer confidence, high pending home sales at 1.9%. Business inventories also showed up at 0%. Richmond manufacturing showed weak at -15. But again, pending home sales 1.9% versus 0.5% expected. And CB consumer confidence 88.7 versus 93.5 is what we got. Market reacted negatively initially, but we'll see what we get now moving forward. And listen, guys, I'm on vacation, so I got to get out of here today, chat. I'm on vacation, so I got to get out of here. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much today, guys. And again, remember, Top Step recently changed their activation fee. They reduced it overall. So even if you still go with the old way, they reduced it to $129 activation fee. They reduced it overall. It's a net positive thing, regardless of what you decide to do. But now you also have a zero activation free option. So if you want to spend $89 for each combine, like say you're good at passing them first try, second try, $89 for the first combine, there's zero activation fee. So another option, really useful in my opinion. It's just giving you more options, and it's reducing the activation fee to $129 net anyway. Again, great way to learn how to day trade. Most day traders lose money, and so learning in a cheaper way, kind of like a souped up demo account in this regard, makes sense in my opinion. You pass it, you get a $50K funded account. It's $50 a month, $49 a month. You pass it, you get a $50 or a $50,000 funded account, 90% split. You fail it, it's not the end of the world. It's a much cheaper risk, and learning how to trade with some risk, but maybe not thousands of dollars in losses like a lot of new traders end up doing, can be a good thing. Can be a good thing. Again, if you want to check it out, look at the link pinned to the top of the chat. The best way to help support the channel. Again, they're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. And again, tomorrow, guys, we got jobless claims, unemployment. These numbers are kind of pulling back the market, though, real quick. Understand all this stuff on screen. Again, I'm a partner of theirs. There's kind of a sponsor of mine, so I'm biased. But genuinely useful, guys. Genuinely useful. Look at the market pull back on these data releases here. So the market is dipping now here, guys. Let's see if the dip continues. Look at that drop. Yikes. Look at this drop. You take vacations every 3 months? I mean, not necessarily. You gotta live life, guys. You know? You gotta live life. I'm trying to see if there's any reports here. Business inventory 0%, expected 0%. Conference board says consumers' average 12-month inflation expectations remain elevated in November, and the median rate increased to 4.8%. Okay, so the White House press secretary also said there are a few delicate but not insurmountable details that must be sorted out, will require further talks between Ukraine and Russia. Pending home sales increased 1.9% versus expected 0.2%. Last time was negative 0.5%. Or previous was 1.5%. Again, Nvidia testing that 170 level again here, guys. So market's starting to turn. And listen, love to everybody here. I appreciate the love. Thanks so much, guys. Y'all have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow. Again, as soon as I close the stream, it'll bring you to tomorrow's stream. I expect you to sit there and wait all day. No bathroom breaks. No music. Focus, guys. Focus. Tomorrow we got jobless claims, unemployment. I'm just joking for liability reasons. But wait. Expectations here are high. See you guys tomorrow. Y'all be good. Have a great day.